Hello everyone, Rachel here from the NOIC Godcast, where we offer wacky wisdom weekly from God's Word. On today's episode, we're going to be wrapping up the year with some reflection. It's hard to wrap my mind around the fact that another year has come and gone.
This is crazy.
I feel like as a kid, years went so slow, and all the adults were always like, oh, it's going by so fast. And I'm not saying that I'm an adult by any means, but I'm just saying the years are going by so fast.
My body feels like I'm an adult.
Yeah, that's true. So at home, when we're eating dinner together, we go around the table and we do a good part, bad part of our day. So I thought that we would go around the table and do that for the year.
Yeah, okay.
So as you can see, it requires a lot of talking because that is the whole podcast. It's those three questions.
That's fine. We'll figure it.
So what is one good thing that happened this year? We should have done the buzzards.
Was that close enough to a buzzard?
It was close. I thought maybe you'd do it one more time.
It's a Chinese buzzard.
Okay.
They didn't see CJ poke his finger on the table. I would say, well, one thing, my daughter was born this year.
Yep.
That was a lot of fun. There was a lot of good things that happened this year. I think that, like, ever since 2020, I've just had like a lower expectation of
It's not too hard to have a good year.
Yeah, like I just had like this thing of just like being more grateful for the things that you're able to do, you know, because like I know it sounds silly, but just being able to go out and shop is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like ever since 2020, it's just been like that thing of like trying to find the good in the small things. But I would say probably the biggest thing this year is that Magnolia was born.
Okay. Something good that happened this year. So it's been a pretty quiet year for me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say understanding contentment from the Lord. Like that's been this year really just finding it to the point of like it surprises me.
Yeah.
Sometimes it makes me think that it's something wrong with me. You know what I mean? Like, why am I not worried about this? Like everyone else is freaking out and I'm not worried about it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so like, oh, because I have contentment.
Yep.
Like it would be nice if the Lord just said, hey, you have contentment now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like
But
then you're not like, what? Am I weird?
yeah, exactly. It's just like,
Am I broken?
yeah, am I crazy? I should be worried about this. But for some reason, I'm not.
So I also had a child this year.
Yeah.
So that'd
yours.
probably be mine. Was that Cohen Andrew was born.
Yeah.
And that was something.
That was something.
CJ, what is something good that happened this year?
Like Cohen.
Oh,
I thought you
that's
were
cheating.
I got deer jerky.
I wouldn't know.
Ate a whole 12 pounds of deer jerky.
Deer jerky
Pretty good.
and cookies.
So I think that to grow and stuff, I think it's good for you to look back at even the bad things.
Oh, yeah.
To see like where you've come from or just to like, I don't know. So that's why when we go around the table, we do good part and bad part. Because I think that you have to be realistic about things and still see even the bad. So that's why I did include a bad thing that happened this year. For me, I really struggled with the loss of someone this year. And so that would probably be the bad thing that happened for me this year.
Yeah.
It can be something like bad like that, like an actual event, or it could be even something like you're struggling with or like whatever, but just a boo part of your year.
Well, honestly, like, I guess it would be coincide with my good one is that like with
your daughter was born.
my daughter was born. She is
The bad
crazy.
part.
No, it's more of like that. The struggle of like, and it wasn't a bad thing. It was just that it felt heavy at the time. Was that postpartum like for that first like month, and then trying to. I was really afraid of Jacob going back to work because like I'd never done two, let alone 2 under 2, and so that was a little bit like I remember like struggling for like a month because he had 4 weeks off, and I knew that I was going to have to handle it and do the thing. But like through that, I could see that I didn't have any, God had it the entire time. And God made us to be the things that he places in our lives. He equips us to be able to do those things. And so not saying that he doesn't hand you things that are bigger than you because you need to trust him. That's the whole point of like, if he only handed you things that you could handle, then
you wouldn't need
then you wouldn't need him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But he's going to hand you things that you can't handle, but he's going to be there to help you handle it. But yeah, I would probably say that. And I feel like this year's January last year was like a long time ago, so I can't really remember all from this year. But I would probably say that was like, that's the big prominent one. That it seemed bad in my mind, but looking back on it, it
wasn't that big of a deal.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't that big.
So I'm gonna say my health. I probably went a good 40 years of my life without having to go to a hospital for anything.
Yeah.
And then to have 2 hospital stays in a year was just like a bummer.
Yeah.
And then so then to find out that I have prostate cancer, that was a bummer.
Yeah.
And like the 2 reasons why I was in the hospital were totally separated from each other.
Yeah.
And then so it's like, man, like my body is trying to check out.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? But again, that goes back to the contentment thing of just like, I should be concerned about this, but trusting in the Lord and just like, it is what it is. I'm going to give it to God and keep going. So
it's just good to look at, like, I think we do tend to just not want to look at the bad things, but the bad things are where you grow.
Yeah, for sure.
The good is not where you grow. The good is where you see God. You see God in those moments, but you almost get a little entitled. The bad is where the rubber meets the road. That's where
Sometimes it humbles you.
Yeah.
To go back and look at the bad.
Yep. Because then you're able to look, just like, I mean, there's 1,000 songs of it, but like just being able to be like, he was there every time. Even when it didn't look like he was going to be, even when everything was just falling apart, like he was there. And like you have to, that way when you walk into the next thing, you'll be like, okay, he was there last time. It didn't look like he was, but he was. And I can do this. We can do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's the story of our life. You know what I mean? And it's funny because like how long would it take us to like trust anything else besides God? And the funny thing that comes to mind is like they say like, you can go to McDonald's 3 times in a row and they can mess your food up 3 times in a row.
Yep.
And guess where you're going the 4th time to get something to eat?
McDonald's.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
Because now they sell Krispy Kremes. How are you not supposed to?
Well, they might mess it up for the good.
Yeah, like give me more food.
14 extra nuggets.
But like, so the thing with trusting God is like he never fails.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So yet every new situation, we're like, I wonder if God's in this with me. And he's looking at us like, I was there like the last 79 times. I'm not counting.
Yeah.
But
I was there if you were asking.
Exactly, yeah. Every time you face the trial in your life, numerous, I was there. And then we get like a new trial and it's like, I wonder if he's there.
Yeah.
You know? So trusting goes a long way with that.
Yep. CJ, what is something bad that happened this year?
I'd say probably a lot of work-related stress. I had an abundance of that this year, so that was kind of hard dealing with it, but it all came out and worked out in the end.
Okay. So what is something that you learned this year? Kind of somewhat went with the bad.
I mean, that's different.
Yeah.
Like you learn, like it could go multiple ways. Like, did you like actually physically learn something?
Right, yeah.
Like, did you like learn a new
learn,
skill?
Did you learn a new language?
No.
Oh.
No Rosetta
I
Stone.
mean, does whatever Tolkien talks count?
Something.
Tokenese.
Tolkienese. Something that I learned this year. Honestly, I think this year was the year of learning to let go of things that are none of my business. you know, like just, or things that I thought were my business and I had no business being in the business. Just figuring out the things, especially when you're in church and different things like ministry wise and different things, just figuring out. This year was the year of me drawing those lines of like, this is important, this is not as important right now. Like, this is not my priority, these are my priorities. And that's something I learned this year and I'm constantly still learning that, and it'll shift your whole life, because your whole life, everything changes between having family and not. Like, once I get older, I obviously won't have little kids at home. And so like, I think that it's constantly shifting, but just learning that, trying to learn where you belong, what is your business to be businessing about, and what is not your business.
Okay. Good answer.
It's a lot of business.
It is a lot of business to defeat the Huns.
I'm going to say, so, like, my journey in salvation, like, this was the year where it all clicked in my life. Like, it literally all clicked. Yep. You know what I mean? And it goes from, like, reading something in the Bible, like, oh, God said that, cool. Okay. Yep. And then believing it, you know what I mean? Like, oh, God said that, and I believe it. And then reading it and like, oh, that applies to me. Yep. And like, it's like the same thing. And just to learn that, like, accepting his will over my will, like that's been a huge thing for me this year. To the point of sounding crazy sometimes, even talking to other Christians. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, no, it's God's will. And just saying it's a matter of, and they're like, wait, like, I mean, I recently had a conversation with fellow Christians about, like, can man, like, overrule, like, God's will? I'm like, no. Like, man can choose to take care of what themselves. Okay, because God's not gonna, impose his will on us. But as far as his plan goes, if that's his plan, there's nothing we can do. You know what I mean, to alter that. We're on a roller coaster. You know what I mean? You don't like the fast turns, well, it's gonna turn fast. You know what I mean? So just like I said, this year has really been a big year of learning to submit my will to God's.
I guess mine's kind of the same thing. I was just thinking that, like, through Cohen's birth, I know I talk about Kari's birth all the time. Now I have Cohen's birth to talk about.
You just keep on having,
I know, I just keep having kids. I have lots of testimonies.
Traumatic experiences.
I was hoping for it to go one way, but there was something when the, like, moment we walked into the hospital, I knew it was going to go the way I didn't want it to go. Like, I just had this, like, feeling, and I had peace about it, though. Like, I wasn't like upset or worried, but, like, I just knew, and maybe it was God telling me that, like, this is what's gonna happen, but, like, I just knew it was gonna go that way. And though physically we fought it as much as we could, it still ended up that way. And, like, I had such a peace about it that I can't explain. And, like, God was there the whole time. I think he had been preparing me for it the whole time. But just knowing that in the unknown, he knows.
Yes.
And so just trusting and learning to submit to what his plan is.
I think that's like, you can ask a whole congregation, God's will over your will. Amen.
But then when you're living it.
It's like, is this
when his will's looking a little wonky to you?
Like, wait a minute now. Then he reminds us, is like, my ways are not the world's ways. You know this. Like, I know. But still.
I'm aware. It looks weird.
Sounds painful.
It sounds very painful. Nope.
CJ, did you learn anything this year?
Well, kind of like a combination of Jamie and Kevin's. Just because something either new or something that's been in your life for a while pops up in your life or whatever, doesn't mean you need to be in control of it. You just need to accept that the Lord's got it and just kind of just move along. You know what I mean?
It's a lot easier if we just, like, buckle up and accept the ride versus like fighting against it and trying to do it our way.
But I don't think it's okay. It's like, you can tell someone, like, okay, like, just go along with it. You know what I mean? Like, if we were all, like, in a car and I said, guys, just let me drive. I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and if you guys don't know, like, don't have any idea of how to get there, it's easy to trust where I'm going because you're like, I have no
Idea where
say.
we're going, yeah.
Exactly. But we make plans in life. Okay.
Yeah.
We expect life to go a certain way. We want life to go a certain way. And God's like, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's cute that you thought it was, but this is more like what I meant by doing that, because we have that preconceived notion of what we want it to be.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like we'll even like say it's God's will for this to happen, and then we try to apply our will to that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And God's like, that's not what I said.
Yep.
Like you're saying it's my will, but it's really your will in this case.
Well, that's the thing is I think that all of us in 2025 we need to walk into the year and get in the car with God, like how like a kid gets into a car compared to someone that's like, I got is MapQuest even a thing still?
Oh, I don't know.
MapQuest?
Yeah.
Yeah, like where you download.
No, I think it's out of date.
Is it?
Yeah.
These kids won't know what MapQuest is, but like instead of having like the map all drawn out, like I have the thing that we got to do.
Or one hand on the steering wheel.
Yeah, one
Yeah,
hand.
Let me help you.
Let me just. Okay, you got the brakes, like the
driver's ed.
the driving instructor brakes.
Yeah.
Like we just need to get in the car, like a child that. Like, listen, most kids don't even buckle their own seatbelt. They have to have their parent buckle their seatbelt.
Yeah.
Like, let God buckle your seatbelt and take you wherever you got to go.
Right.
Don't try to be like, could you imagine Cohen being like, hey, Ma, you turn left, but you're supposed to turn right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that would be ridiculous. That's exactly what it's like when we try to tell God where we're supposed to be going.
And even when when God gives us the provision to see where it's going, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, we're going over there. And God's like, yes, you will end up over there.
Yeah.
But
We're going to go this way.
Yeah.
exactly, to get there. And then, we become shouldn't we be going
Are we there
left?
yet?
You know what I
there
mean?
yet?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't see any more signs that are telling us to go
Just getting to the point where you say to yourself, you don't need to worry about it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
You're playing your Nintendo in the back seat. You're not doing all the like looking out trying to find the signs. You
just
know?
sit back and enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen is going to happen no matter what you do. So.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's what's best.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like compared to like if you were to go the way you want to go to get there, it's not going to be pretty.
No.
Right. I think with kids, I don't think you guys are at this point yet. Well, you might be with your older boys. It's like you kind of want them to pay attention to where you're going so they know how to get back home from where you are.
They kind of know. Like, they know if you turn a different way. Like, if you're going to the church instead of, like, or if you go to your mom's and compare, like, they know.
There's a couple turns they know.
Yeah. But, like, if you had to go to the store, but you didn't tell them that, you know what I mean? Like, we're going to my mom's. They get in the car and they're like, Mom, it's that way. And you're like, I know it's that way, but I need to go this way.
Yep.
Why? You know what I mean? Oh, we're going to the store because there was something there we needed before we got, you know what I mean?
It's that intersection. Whenever we turn to go to McDonald's, we're like, wait, where are we going? Which happens more and more.
And I'm the one driving.
This is the road.
Listen, it got so bad. I don't know if I've said this on the podcast before. I feel like I have. It got so bad that when my phone was connected, now I got a really old car.
Is
So
that your work?
it would tell me, no, it wouldn't tell me it was my work. It would, every time I got in the car after church, it would say 10 minutes to McDonald's.
The whole time you're walking to the car, like, I'm not going to McDonald's. I'm not going to McDonald's. And then you get in the car and your car's like 10 minutes to
my car
McDonald's.
thinks I'm going to. Like, so I might as well. Like, I don't even know if they'll give me GPS directions until I go to a McDonald's
Well,
first.
you don't want to disappoint your car.
Exactly.
No.
It might just start falling apart or something.
Yeah, well, it did.
Yeah.
I didn't go to McDonald's enough.
If you don't go to McDonald's, this would never happen.
That's what I'm saying. I have a question for you guys.
Oh boy.
What is your, like, not necessarily spiritual as in, like, spiritual, like what's your goal this year going into 2025 as far as, like, is it praying more? Is it, like, reading more? Is it starting, like, an actual Bible study instead of just doing, like, where you're just reading it? Like, is something, like, a component that you're wanting to add to yourself this year? I like when I stump people.
That's a great question.
I would say intentional time because, like, with 4 kids, I don't have time
Yeah.
for much. But so
Especially right now.
so making that time intentional. But something that's been on my heart for quite a while, and I just like can't figure out just exactly how to do it. So I've been praying about it for a while, but is more of just like how to get my kids to see me reading and praying without being like, look what I'm doing, but also like them see me do it and it makes them want to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that all makes sense, but that's, I want to figure that out in 25, hopefully.
And it's so hard because when you're a mom, I don't know, like my kids are still younger, so like they see things, but they're not like quite
aware,
there. Yeah, but like you try to have that time. You need like
I need them to not be there.
Yeah, you need them to not be there.
But I want them to know what I'm doing.
Yeah, like you're like it's like you need to pretend for like 15 minutes.
I'm gonna go read my Bible. I'll be right back.
Or you just sit out there not actually reading it. You're just flipping through the pages, and then you're like, okay, time for nap. Okay, now I can actually read my Bible. Like you want to be an example, but it's also like you need some mental clarity to be able to do this.
It's a struggle.
I'm gonna say spreading the gospel to more people I know. Because to me, it's quite easy to talk to a stranger about it. And I know why. It's like, it's because someone you have a relationship with, you don't want to lose that relationship.
You're more vulnerable.
Exactly. But it's like, it reminds me of a story that someone told quickly about a guy who was a Christian, and like every Thursday, he wouldn't play basketball, with his buddies. And then the rapture comes, and then he's going up to heaven, and his buddies are like, hey, where you going? And he's like, I'm going to heaven. And they're like, wait, you knew how to get there, but you didn't bother to tell us.
Yep.
How much do you hate us?
Yeah.
And like, I have replayed conversations in my head time and time again. And it's like, okay, like this is like buying a gym membership, buying new workout clothes, and then not going to the gym. Yeah. Like you're prepared to go, but you're just like, it might hurt, so I'm not going to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I really, really, really need to, pick that up and go with it.
CJ, do you have one?
Yeah, kind of similar to what Kevin's, just kind of being more open to tell people the truth, even when it might not be the most easiest thing to say to them. You know what I mean? Just kind of just being unafraid to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just being more bold, I guess.
And I think that, like, scripturally, if you just read the scripture and without the Holy Spirit leading you, it's almost like it's saying a friend lost a parent and you just welcome and go, this is God's will. Yeah. This is what Jesus said about it. You know what I mean? Are you telling the truth? Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Is that what you should be doing? No. So it's being led by the Spirit.
Yes.
In doing it. You know what I mean? So I could make a list, like a bucket list of people I'm going to go visit. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I feel as though like I'm going to have a preconceived notion on what to say to them, and then I'm going to expect a certain response. So I'm kind of like replaying the conversation. Yep. But the minute that their response goes off kilter,
they go
off script, I'm going to be like,
you were supposed to say that.
I know. You hand them a piece of paper like, this was what you were supposed to say.
Did you not get the memo? So yeah, it's with like just spreading the gospel with no like expectation other than I'm going to spread the gospel.
Yeah. Regardless of the reaction. Regardless.
Yes.
Okay. I would say this coming year, I want to like, I don't know how to like articulate this. It's in my brain, but you know how like things just don't come out very well. I want the youth of our church to, and they're bounds ahead of us than what we were when we were their age, but I want them to, I remember when we were teenagers even, like to say that, like to talk about prayer, to talk about just like God amongst ourselves. Like now we do fairly often because we're older and we've known things, but like back then it was almost like it was like taboo almost. And it's weird because we grew up in church. Right. Like it would be weird for me to come to Rachel and be like, hey, can you pray for me about this thing? Like at 13, 14, it would have been like, what do you mean? Why are you, dude, don't do that.
Yeah. Pray for yourself. What are you
Yeah, no, like basically.
I got enough to pray for.
Or like just in general, just being able to talk with each other about the things that you're struggling with, because even adults now have a problem doing that. And I just want to facilitate. I want the new generation. We may be doomed, but like the new generation, I want them to be close knit. I want them to be able to go to one another, to come to us too. But like, we're going to be dead and gone at one point. So like, they need each other. And I want them to be able to be spiritually as close knit as they are just physically close knit.
I think that's like, for example, if everyone is pointing their children to Christ, that closeness will come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of saying, okay, you 5, you know, when things go south, talk about it amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
well, I just want it to be like they see it as an example through me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I'm not like, I'm asking them about things. I'm talking to them about things so that they know that that's like a normal open communication thing that you're supposed to do with one another as a Christian, which seems kind of like, but like.
Well, our generation, I feel like we were all like, it was the like, if you did anything bad, God's going to strike you with lightning. So you can admit that anything was going on. It's where
I feel like a lot of us, especially through teen years, struggled with a lot of different things that like we didn't talk about.
That like we've only realized it as adults.
Yeah, like later on we were like, what? You too? You did that too? And like they like, but it was very much so like that was not, you didn't have any struggles. You know what I mean? Like it was very much so. And that partially was like the church we grew up in and just different things like that, whereas a lot of our adults now are not like that. Like I truly believe that we would be disappointed, but like, if one of our youth came to us and was like, hey, I'm doing this thing, or like I struggle with this thing or whatever, like we would cover them with love and be like, okay, well, we're going to help you get out of this. We're going to show you how to take a path that's closer to God, to lean on God, so you're not doing this on your own. And instead of like, I feel like if we would have done that as a child, like when we were kids, it would have been like, just don't.
You know, you can't. You can't do that.
Yeah, like you're not allowed to do that. So like, I think that that's what I want. I want them to be able to know that everyone struggles with things. Like we're all human, but that doesn't mean that you stay there.
Yeah.
Like God has a better plan.
Yeah.
And you just have to follow him.
Yep.
You know?
Yes. Yes. I think the whole, I don't know, it still sounds radical to me. It's just like, we're all sinners. You know what I mean? And we all mess up. We all do these things. And when you get saved, you're still going to do things. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's, you know, it's a difficult like explanation to someone. Like, you're going to sin until the day you die.
Yeah.
Okay. So God can't be around sin, but you're going to die a sinner. Like, how do you square that circle? Is that what it is? Or I
don't know if I've ever heard that phrase, but like,
square that circle or circle that square. Anyway, how do you make that make sense?
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's like, what is the one thing that you need? Like, you know, you messed up.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So what is, like, what do you need?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't go back in time and change it. You've already messed up. And the only thing that's going to help you is forgiveness.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's so radical. And I've accepted this years ago. And it's just like, it still sounds radical when you say it to someone.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
So with it being mostly questions, I really didn't know where our conversation was going to go. So I just found a quote and
that's fine.
Because I didn't know where our content would be.
This is your podcast.
This is
you
my
do
podcast.
what you want to do.
Exactly.
I can cry if I want to. So this is from Major Ian Thomas. There are a few things quite so boring as being religious, but there is nothing quite so exciting as being a Christian.
I like that.
I thought it was good. I don't know if it's been quoted on here before, but it sounded kind of fresh. I mean, not
I don't
fresh.
think so. I mean,
Yeah.
Major Ian Thomas did.
Yeah, so he didn't say it recently, but like I hadn't heard it. So.
You didn't have a conversation with him the other day.
Yeah, no, not that I'm allowed to say.
So Josh has like a link to dead people. It's like,
Hopefully he's not still communicating with them, but you know, whatever.
Semantics. It's fine.
So my featured content, actually, for my good part and my bad part that I talked about this podcast, this is the song that when I got news that that I lost that person, and then when going through Cohen's birth, this is the song that just played in my mind both times on its own. So it's kind of a special song for me this year. But it's Katy Nichole and Big Daddy Weave's "God Is in This Story."
It's a good song.
It's a good
It
song.
is.
So 2 weeks ago was trivia.
Yeah, we did.
Last time we had a
2 weeks.
podcast, trivia.
The last time y'all saw us,
So what was the most popular Christmas movie?
it was Home Alone. B.
Home Alone.
Yeah, I kind of thought Polar Express or maybe Christmas Story. 'Cause
I was thinking of Christmas Story because it's in
based in
Cleveland.
Yeah, no, but yeah, it was Home Alone. Home Alone, man.
So since we just came from Christmas, this is last December, I thought we'd throw one last Christmas trivia in there because
Okay.
I was afraid to take like New Year's things because I have a whole
like,
New
there's a
Year.
whole- yeah, there's-
I didn't want to take the.
yeah.
So we're going with the Christmas one. So how long does it take for a tree to reach the average ideal Christmas tree height?
Oh,
A, 10 years, B, 15 years, C, 20 years, or D, 25 years. I put them in order for you.
thank you.
Yes.
I would have put them all in weird ones.
So then we're going to say there's a lot of them.
I think that's it right there.
Okay. So happy birthday to Michael Tuck, Gabriel Jones,
Ariana.
Ariana McBroom, Sonny Thomas, Kensley Hill, Caleb Hill, Everly Dingus, Kenny Ferguson. His is all capital for some reason.
Yeah.
Luella Hunt, Alex Bradford, Danielle Ash, Jeremy Valentine, Carter Pond, Emma Stover, and Rain Endicott. Happy birthday.
Happy
'Cause we missed
birthday.
everybody.
Or belated birthday.
Yeah, belated.
Whichever
because
one.
we didn't have one.
Whichever one it is.
Male.
And then mail. Still.
We should start mailing ourselves.
We should. Anonymously.
Yeah.
Like,
This is the best podcast I have ever listened to. You guys are hilarious. Your bloopers make me laugh.
It's kind of funny, like scrolling through social media and it's like an ad
Oh, yeah.
for something, and like the first thing is always like, I just got mine 3 days ago.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
I'm like, everyone just got something 3 days ago and they love it. Like,
So what you guys need to do is go under ours and say, I just listened to this 3 days ago.
exactly. And it was great.
Oh, goodness.
Well, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, share. I hope you guys had a great year, and I'm looking forward to what next year holds. And
Yeah.
so with that, we'll be starting a new series next Monday.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
thought I knew what it was going to be, but it got vetoed.
Oh.
Okay.
So,
Well, stay tuned because we'll be surprised too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone. Surprise.
All right. Well, Happy New Year, and we'll see you guys then.
all right, guys. Happy New Year. Bye.
That microphone's not in the right spot, Jake. You got it.
Now I'm curious how many I've tried.